If you need to exit, please use the middle aisleway. Also, for those of you seated in the first couple of rows, you are in the splash zone. If you have any cameras, electronic gear, or children you're particularly fond of, you may want to head for higher ground. Thanks, and enjoy the show. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Seals, Sea Lions, and Otters, an in-depth look at these amazing animals and the incredible bond they have with their animal care specialists. We know you'll leave today with a much deeper appreciation and understanding of these wonderful animals. And now, please welcome your host for today's presentation.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Sea Lion Stadium. Now before we kick off this show, I want to apologize to you guys for starting a little late, but we hope that you guys enjoyed the show, and hopefully you guys learn a lot from our flipper friends over here at Six Flags Discovery Kingdom. Now, here at Sea Lion Stadium, we of course have California sea lions, but we also have another species of pinniped called Harbour seals. Now, if you guys have been to Seal Cove, right across the way, then you guys will actually see sea lions and seals living harmoniously together. And everyone, please welcome California sea lion Indigo. Now, as I just mentioned, Indigo is a California sea lion. But when you guys are watching the animals over at Cove, you guys may be wondering, well, what's the differences between a California sea lion and a Harbour seal? Now, while they're both part of the same family, which is pinnipeds, which basically means flipper-footed, they do have a lot of differences. And to point out some of those differences, the first thing that we're going to start with is their head, and then we're going to move down to their back flippers. Now, if you're looking at Indigo's head and the sides of her head, you'll notice that she has external earlobes. Just like we do, we have earlobes that kind of hang off the sides of her head. That is what she uses to hear from. Now, when we bring out a Harbour seal in our next segment, what you're going to notice is that all they have are holes on the sides of their heads, and they actually close up those holes like little valves when they are swimming through the water. Now, moving down to her big front flippers, California sea lions have these massive front flippers that they can use to propel themselves through the water at about 25 miles per hour. Now, Harbour seals don't have those big front flippers, and they actually only use them to steer themselves while they're in the water, and they actually use their back flippers in a scullying motion to propel themselves in the water. Now another difference that they have is actually how they move on land. Sea lions can actually rotate their back hips underneath them, like you might have seen Indigo doing while she was backing up. And they can actually walk on all fours, and they use their back hips and those big front flippers of theirs to walk on all fours, kind of like a dog might do. Now seals, on the other hand, they're not as well adapted on land, but they do something that's very cool, and we call it undulation. And undulation is basically where they use their core muscles and kind of flop around when they're on land, which is very cute. Indigo is actually doing her very best seal impression right there. Now, some other differences you guys might notice when we bring out our Harbour seal is actually their coloration. Sea lions usually have a dark brown coat, while seals have a silver to a black coat, and their coat is also spotted. Now, another difference that you'll notice is their size. Indigo here is approximately an 180-pound female. However, male California sea lions can reach up to 800 pounds, which is very, very large. Now, on the other hand, Harbour seals, male Harbour seals will reach about 200 pounds to maybe 250 pounds when they're fully grown, while female Harbour seals are going to range more to about the 150, 160 range. Now Everyone please give Indigo a round of applause. I know she's taught me a lot about the differences between seals and sea lions, which is pretty fantastic. Now, please welcome the galumper himself, Smokey the Harbour Seal. So now we have Smokey here, who, as I mentioned, is a Harbour Seal, and you can already notice a lot of the differences between him and Indigo, who we had previously. Notice the body, notice the size, how he moves on land versus how Indigo moves on land. We call this galumping. Can everyone say galumping? Oh, that was pretty good. It's a weird word that basically just means that's how they flop and that's how they move on land. And they actually have very strong abdominal core muscles to be able to do so. Now, Smokey here is going to show us some of the training that we do here at Six Flags Discovery Kingdom. And the most important training that we do is actually our husbandry training. And basically what that is training that we do with the animals that allows us to take the best possible care of them. So one of the basic behaviors that we do, one of the first husbandry behaviors that we train our animals is what we call layouts. So where Smokey or even Indigo, they lay on their stomachs, they can lay on their backs, and we basically do a visual and tactile checkup on them from their head all the way down to their back flippers and making sure that they are physically in tip-top shape. Smokey is very good for these tactile belly rubs. And now there are all sorts of other very unique behaviors that we do with them that are incredibly important. In these layouts, they can also have voluntary ultrasounds, all the way up to even voluntary blood draws that we do with our vet clinic. We work very closely with a very special group of vet techs and veterinarians that really, they have the best healthcare. They have better healthcare than me. And now some other things that we might do with them is we can ask them to open their mouths. Now, which one of us has brushed our teeth this morning? You know, I see a lot of hands, that's good, but shame on some of you that haven't raised your hand. Now, our seals and sea lions also get daily dental care as well. What you may have noticed Alex doing with Smokey is giving him an animal-safe mouth flush. And when we're giving them their dental care, we can even check on their teeth, their mouth, their tongue, and make sure that it is all looking good. Smokey gives you guys a good wave. Everyone wave to Smokey. Hello. And we also have some other behaviors that we can do. Now that's awesome. We can also do some eye presents with the animals, checking on their eyeballs, and we can give them eye medication, apply some eye medication to them as well. But as I mentioned, husbandry is the #1 most important training that we do with our animals. And it requires a very special bond between trainers and the seals and sea lions that we work with. It is a bond that takes a lot of time and it allows us to work incredibly close with these animals, much closer than what most people might do. Now, the way that we train the animals is actually a very similar way that some of you guys may train your dogs at home. And we actually use positive reinforcement. Now, positive reinforcement is essentially when the animal does something that we like, we're going to give them something that they like, which is usually is something like fish, ice. Some of our animals even like jello. Now, what you'll see Alex doing with Smokey when he was bringing him up close to you guys, you might hear him give a verbal cue, okay, is what he might say. And that is what we call a bridge in training. And a bridge is bridging the gap between the animal doing the behavior and then the animal getting reinforced for that behavior. It bridges that gap and it lets them know, hey, I just did a good job and now I'm going to get some reinforcement for it. I think Smokey did a great job. What do you guys think? All right, thank you very much, Smokey. Now, there's another form of training that we do with our animals that is very important in its own right, and that is our show and high energy behaviors. Now we do these behaviors to make sure that we keep our animals active. You see they have pretty big bodies, which means that they have some pretty strong muscles as well, and we need to make sure that we're keeping them active. And to tell you guys a little bit about our show training, and to finish our show is Animal Care Specialist Alex.
Everyone give Tom a big round of applause. That was a really good opening. Thank you. Give Smokey a big round of applause. That's the best animal here. I'm not biased. Okay. All right, now we talked a little bit about husbandry training and the difference between a seal and sea lion. We are about to meet the smallest of our 3 species of animals we have here. Does anyone might know what that is? Everyone who said otter, give yourself a big round of applause. Nice pat on the back. That's a good job. Yes, it is an otter, but they are actually Asian small pond otters. So they're the smallest of the 13 otter species. But they are also an apex predator. Now, does anyone here know what apex means? Not the game, not Apex Legends. Apex, raise your hands. A couple people, what does it mean? Yes, they are the top of the food chain. You are correct. Now, this little guy that's about to come out here, he's about the size of my boot. So, you might not think he's an apex predator, but he is. Right, so everyone give Mr. Tucker a very warm welcome.
Sorry, excuse me.
Now, Tucker is the youngest of our 3 otters here. But he's also the most feisty, the most cute, as you can tell. But like I said, apex predator, this little guy. I mean, they're the top of their food chain. But they do have one predator. Does anyone have a guess of what that predator might be? Someone said human. Yep. Unfortunately, look to your right. Look to your left. Yeah, yes, you. It's you. All right, and that's not to say that we go out and we hunt them or whatever the case may be. No, the main way that we impact these guys is through environmental degradation. Okay, so through deforestation, through the loss of their habitat, is how we impact these guys the most. We also impact them through bioaccumulation. Does anyone know what that means? There's some no's, I hear some yeses. All right, now pretend I'm a fish, and I swim around, and I eat a piece of plastic because I think it's a piece of shrimp, or it's a krill, or whatever the case may be. Now another fish swims along, and it goes, oh, and it eats me. And then another fish swims along, and it goes, and it eats that fish. And then Mr. Tucker, or Mr. Smokey, or Miss Indigo, eat that fish. Now, how many pounds of food do you think Smokey eats a day?
No.
Right here, a lot? Yeah? Hands up if you say 5 pounds. Hands up if you say 10 pounds. So I hear 15. What about 20? Yeah, Smokey eats like 20 pounds of food a day. He's a big boy. And then a lot of the sea lions eat about the same amount of food a day. So you imagine 20 pounds of plastic in your stomach, that's gonna add up over time, right? Give Tucker a big round of applause. That was a really good job, buddy. Now, the easiest way to help these guys, who here goes to restaurants? Don't be shy. Okay, that's good. Now, who here goes to bars? All the kids, put your hands down. Good. Okay, now, some of you are lying. I know more of you go to bars than this. That's okay. Now, the easiest way to help these guys, when you go to your local restaurant or you go to your local bar and you order your drink or you order your water, what do they give you with it? Straw. Womp, womp, womp. Yeah, a straw, right? Miss Kaylee just came out, she just put a straw on the stage. The easiest way to help these guys is when you go to your local restaurant or you go to your local bar, refuse the plastic straw, and that helps this guy right here, Mr. Fenway, live a very long and healthy life, right? Because straws are one of the top 3 items that end up in landfills over time and then end up in the ocean due to runoff. Okay, so the easiest way we can help these guys, not doing beach cleanups, it's not donating money, even though that helps too, right? It's to refuse the plastic straw, right? More than ever. Now, we've seen Mr. Tucker, we've seen Mr. Fenway, but we touched a little bit about conservation and stuff like that. But one of the cool things we do here is show training, right? So the behavior that you just saw is actually, do you have a question? What's the question? If the otters can swim in the water. That's a very good question. Now, these guys are typically from like Southeast Asia or tropical areas. Everyone give Mr. Cole a big round of applause. So you might be wondering why the otters were swimming. It's a little cold for them right now. It's like 60 degrees. Right, so they're used to like 75 and higher. But for this guy, it doesn't really matter because he swims in waters as cold as 50 degrees, 49 degrees, to as high as the upper 70s. He's a very good boy. Now Koa is one of our largest sea lions here. He says hello. And what Aaron is doing here with him is a bunch of different behaviors and show training that we do on a consistent basis with this guy to keep him mentally and physically stimulated, right? So I'm gonna let you guys in on a little secret. You ready? Now, all my parents, raise your hands. Now, look at your kids if you have them. Now, imagine the attention span of a kiddo. Now, apply that to an otter. Apply that to maybe even a harbor seal. Or maybe even one of these guys when they're young. Right? So for these animals, the attention span is a little bit shorter, and it's a little bit harder to get them to do a lot of these cool things that you're seeing right now. Right? Now, it may look cool and it may look easy, but for trainers like Aaron, who have been here for 7 years, a lot of these behaviors have taken a lot of time for these animals to learn. But as you can see, they are very, very, very rewarding. He says, I do a little bit of wiggling. I'm a very good bully. Everyone give Koa a big round of applause. That was amazing. Now, he says, oh, I'll give myself a round of applause too. Oh, there it is. Got it. Now, on behalf of all of us here at Sea Lion Stadium, thank you guys all for coming out. It's been a pleasure.
No.
What a show off. Everyone give him a big cheer. That was amazing. I guess you can cheer for Aaron too. Fine. But on behalf of all of us here at Sea Lion Stadium and at Six Flags Discovery Kingdom, thank you guys for coming out today. It's been a pleasure. You guys are an amazing, fun crowd. If you'd like to see more sea lions or seals, head across the street to Seal Cove. There's 5 sea lions over there and 3 seals.